Awesome. Well, welcome everybody who's here. We're grateful that you're joining us today. We'll probably kick this off since the meeting is being recorded. And I'm Loren Pudlewski. I'm joining from Touch Stay, digital guidebooks guest experience platform. And please let me introduce Austin, who's from
Um,
Avantio. You want to say
yeah,
hello?
I'm Austin. I'm a business development manager. So I manage accounts and I also sell new business. And yeah, I work throughout the US and Canada.
Very cool. I'm located in the US, but both Avantio and TouchStay are global companies. So you should be able to sign up from wherever you're located around the world. We do have team members that cover the sun, so to speak. So we have team members in all regions. It just happens to be Austin and I today who are joining you from the American region. But we welcome you from wherever you are, wherever you're joining us today. So thanks so much. The topic of our webinar today is turning stays into stories, and Austin and I naturally can tell you lots of stories because we've gotten to know each other through the years, but we do want to try and always bring it back to your specific properties and goals. So as I reduce some of my screens here, we already went through our introductions slightly, but here's our faces for you to see. There are LinkedIn faces if you want to find them, or maybe even on Slack. Please connect with us if you are interested in getting to know either Austin through his snowboarding, me through my gardening, or obviously our work with both of our companies and helping you all manage your properties. This is the general agenda that we put together today. Obviously, you can ask questions throughout, no matter what. I just wanted to make sure we had a formula to go through. Do have some quick polls we'll ask you in the next slide, just generally asking some questions about your business. We'll talk about why experience matters for hosting people in your properties, how you can storytell, how you can use your guest stories to storytell a little bit, showcase a little experience first, guest journey with some of our customers that are mutual customers, and then learn more about both of us. Austin, do you want to add anything to anything about the agenda today that from your perspective?
No, we're going to try to add value. I know people or companies specifically in industry like to do webinars, and what we're going to do is hopefully leave you with something that you can actually take home and use and implement right away. That's not hard, but will make you stand out. So.
Awesome. Thank you very much. In the background, I'm excited to announce that we have Alex, who's helping us with our polls, who has now launched a poll for you to go ahead and fill out. We're asking what type of accommodation category you are with. We know that Avantio and TouchStay mutual customers typically are in the short-term rental, vacation rental space, but some of you are also in the hotel space and the boutique hotel operations. We also serve at TouchStay, glamping, camping, and different types of verticals in the hospitality space. And I know that Avantio is always open to discussing as well.
Without a doubt. We do short-term rental software, but we have people that operate boutique hotels and different styles of unique properties. So
Yeah,
both
it's
of
really
us
cool.
can help you.
Absolutely. We're here to help you. And the way that you connect to both of our platforms isn't, it causes no problems no matter what you're serving. And if you're interested in dabbling in other areas, you can definitely come and ask us as well. If you're in the Americas and you're all headed to VR Nation this coming weekend, we'll both be in attendance. So you're welcome to come find us as well. While you're answering the poll, I will move on to the next slide, just so that we can kind of get moving into the day. So the first slide here, we wanted to talk about why experience matters a little bit. I will start personally for just a quick minute, and then I'm going to pass it off to Austin to talk a little bit about experience from his perspective, because I think everyone brings something different to the table. I did put a quote here, though, from Vacation Rental Formula, and I do encourage you to check them out if you're interested. Heather Bayer, you may or may not know the name. Heather Bayer has been in this industry for a very long time, and she's got this vacation rental formula school, and it's free advice, but there's also other things you can go into. But it said guests increasingly expect hotel-like services and vacation rentals, including prompt responses to minor issues and concierge-like amenities. Now, when you think about this in a hotel, you have someone at a front desk typically, you've got people all around on every floor, you have housekeeping, you have maybe a restaurant or two. But in the new boutique hotel spaces, I'm finding a lot of people are not even employing people at those hotels and they're serving them more as short-term rental individual check-ins. But in these vacation rentals and in your short-term rentals, especially me when I'm staying in one now, I find myself wondering, oh, they didn't leave me a garbage bag. I wish I would have known this when I got here, or any other small thing. So this is where those prompt responses could be something that you proactively prepare ahead of their stay, but it could be a way of how are they getting in contact with you when they get to their place? Are you checking in on them once they're there? And do you have enough communications going to them in advance so that they feel well looked after before they've even got there? That's what I really want to talk about with that specific quote, but I'm going to let Austin chat a little bit more thoroughly on any of the other things he'd like to bring up from here.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think Lauren hits it on the head. So it's simple and it's not. When I travel once a month at least, all around the country, I stay in short-term rentals, obviously. And the difference can be from going into a clean house that's well prepared and you did get your check-in instructions, but to go into one that essentially anticipates your needs, but is also able to respond to some that might come up. For instance, most recently I went to a place, the house was beautiful, it was great. Didn't have any shampoo. And I know I'm bald, but it didn't have any soap, and I didn't bring any with me. But the guest, excuse me, the host was able to reply really quickly. But I think when people are going to short-term rentals now, they're expecting a good service and also some privacy. To give another quick um, short story, there was one down in Florida that should not be named, but you had to go and pick up your keys, which I know probably most of you aren't doing. But can you imagine if you're driving with your family and a long road trip, it's your vacation, and you have to stop by an office and pick up keys when you're just tired and want to check into your place, and you probably got a short-term rental to have a little bit more privacy. Those little touches, let's say, not on purpose, but a little bit of a pun, make all the difference in creating a good guest experience. And that's how you build your brand. That's how you get return guests. And it's just going a little bit above and beyond can make a huge difference. And it does when I go and stay in these all the time. And I'm a pretty harsh critic. So that's what I wanted to add here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that about your experience in Florida. I don't know exactly who that is, but I've definitely stayed in multiple places where I've had to do that. I do have a family. And I remember with the kids one time in the van getting to our place and having to go enter a code, to pick up the envelope, to get the key. And listen, I am happy to do it, but I also hope as we continue to evolve in the future and as vacation rentals continue to be looked at as a really strong amenity feature, we all, no matter what, have to think about how can we help our owners choose to upgrade from this old lock key system to a panel key system, or how can we encourage them to want to upgrade? We all know right now, everyone's a little tighter on different things, especially your owners. They may not want to upgrade or enhance or paint the walls, but that's where helping them find the reason of how it can bring more value to their bookings and how it can bring even more bookings to their stay is really important. And I think owner communications is a piece that's always a part of the story. If you own them that yourself, it's a lot easier to just make that upgrade, but sometimes getting through that dotted red lines and tape is important. Back to the story side of it, though, I remember how long it took us to get inside of the condo that we were staying in at that point in time. And that is part of the story, as the second bullet talks about, that I remember, that Austin remembers. And if you eliminate those friction moments that a guest might have before they've even checked in or at the beginning of their stay, they will remember that stay a whole lot more. I am more likely to Instagram story your vacation rental while I'm staying in it if you've given me a really great welcome versus not sharing anything at all. I'm a guest who always tries to think behind the scenes and be empathizing with you, the property manager, whether I'm having a good stay or a bad stay. So I usually don't leave negative reviews, even if I do have a negative experience, probably because I'm in the industry and I like to give grace. But at the same time, I think that this is also a place where you can learn how to, or if you're already not doing it, or find a way to just increase it even more. If you're here today, honestly, you're probably already doing a really great job because you're showing up to things like this. You're engaging with Avantio or Touch Stay in a way that brought this webinar to light for you. But if you're not with either of us and you're still just learning the ropes, I think it's really important to at least have a conversation, have an open discussion, and say, well, this is what we have going. What do you think here? And then the last thing, bullet point here is review centric mindset versus experience centric. And this is almost like whether you're reactive or whether you're proactive to that guest staying with you. And this goes fully backwards. You can't just think of the review at the end. You have to think about they've not gotten here. I really want a great review at the end. So what can I do building up to this that they're already confident so that no matter what, if the air conditioning breaks or if they hit road work or there's some sort of massive construction outside, they're already really happy and they won't be negative about it. So this is where taking those proactive measures in advance through your communications that are scheduled through Avantio, for example, or using a Touch Stay guidebook to surface local area recommendations in advance is a great way to help increase that potential. Before we move from this slide, if anyone feels like asking any questions or sharing a way that you're enhancing your guest experience from your perspective, I think it'd also be really helpful for anybody else to learn. We do have the chat feature available for this webinar. So please engage with each other, get to know each other, and share what you're doing. I guess my first question, if you feel like chatting in here, is how many, we're not going to do a poll for this one, but how many times are you messaging your guest before they get their post booking? Is it once, twice, 5 times or more, 10 times or more? And I think it'll all depend on your booking windows. If you get a year in advance booking windows, you have a lot more room for flexibility. But I'm just curious if you're interested in sharing that. And on that note, I will move to the next slide while you all chat through. I love this picture. I really do.
Me too. Some of
I
the
really
chats that came in, Michelle said 4 to 5, Michael at least twice, April twice.
excellent.
And I just wanted to highlight something there really quickly, which is there is kind of a in between of overkill, right? If you're getting
Hmm.
10 messages all the time,
Yep.
it might honestly go against the guest experience, believe it or not. But also, if you send them one message, like here's the code to your entrance or something very basic, it's probably not enough. So it sounds like the people in the chat have it locked down.
Yeah, I agree. So my typical when I'm onboarding folks here at Touch Stay, my typical minimum requirement or recommendation, not requirement, recommendation is 3 times. And those 3 times would be post booking because you know what? You have your planners. You have your people that draw a whole itinerary up about their trip. They've got every moment planned and they need to know in advance what they need to see, what they need to do. And I guess I'm specifically talking about our guidebook. So if you aren't using guidebook either way, post booking is a good time to confirm their booking. 2 weeks before, because you get the people, maybe like Austin. I'm kind of in this boat, not fully though, where 2 weeks before we start thinking about, oh, okay, this is what we need to clean off for work. We're going on a trip soon. What do I want to do while I'm there? Let me look at whatever they've sent me through Avantio or through whatever. And then the day before, because the day before you get your procrastinators, you get your people that literally are finally unplugging to go take a vacation and are now looking as they're traveling on what they need to do, what they should see, what they need to know about their place when they arrive, and how to check in. I don't know, Austin, if you have any recommendations, at least that Avantio shares about post booking, or if it's pretty.
Yeah, well, it's and like the people that are in the chat, you probably know, so I don't want to beat a dead horse, but you can automate this. And when you have your PMS that you love, whether it's Avantio or somebody else, and you have somebody like TouchStay and really your tech stack, you can make it automated, but also give somebody that personal experience. And a stat that I found before doing the webinar, which I remembered reading about, was that um, sorry if you're a baby boomer out there, but basically there was a survey that said 52% of Gen Z said they want to splurge on experiences as compared to only 29% of baby boomers. So rather than maybe your standard travel. And it went one further in the next question, 70% of them wanted to seek out unique experiences with their family and friends that they hadn't done before. And whether you're talking about an experience, this all comes down to the guest experience and customer service. And if you can give somebody options and information ahead of time, number one, you might be able to increase your revenue. But number two, you also are going to be able to create something memorable, which I think is what will make the difference versus, yeah, my stay was fine. It was clean. It was nice. And yeah, they went above and beyond. They told me about the farmer's market down the street on Tuesday, et cetera, et cetera. And you can do that nowadays so easily when you have the right partners. So
Awesome. No, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing those statistics. I think it's so valuable. And I know when we're taking our family of teenagers now, places, I'm trying to look for unique experiences that they've never thought of or tried because if they've done it before or if it's not interesting, it's a no. And they just don't really. aren't up for it. So I'm trying to find unique experiences for them as well. And I think that if someone were to surface that to me before I arrive at my vacation, I would absolutely look it up. So if you're in Florida, for example, can you highlight the local manatees where you can swim with the manatees? Or maybe you can partner with someone like Explory or a visiting or a link-based commissionable ticketing that you could even import into Avantio or into your Touch Stay communications to your guests so that they learn about these things through you. So it gives them a reason to book with you again in the future, but also to start storytelling about, oh, I was staying at XYZ Vacation Rentals. They sent me this guidebook. It had the recommendations for this. The property was excellent. I checked out and my whole direct booking process was great through Avantio, or they won't know it's Avantio per se, but they might. But either way, Avantio allows that for you with the website that they develop to go with your direct booking. So if you're starting to think about staying with the OTAs, but also moving into more of a direct booking scene, that's where Avantio can help you cover that entire portfolio. And TouchStay is just a plug and play additional tech stack tool that can share information to your guests through that. I'm going to pivot to this photo and thank you though to all of you that shared your messaging in the comments. I think it's very valuable to learn from each other. Uh, so the photo is storytelling in a way. It's not obviously in a property, but this is Austin and I on stage last year at VR Nation and talking about it was the newlywed game for customers and their brands. I don't think we could find a Avantio customer in the audience at the moment at that date. So I was the customer, and we have other brands and partners with us here, but you can just see by the picture that we made memories that we will probably talk about for life. And this is what your guests are doing in their properties, and they're taking pictures there too. So this is how your stories can help drive bookings is if they take that picture and you make an Instagrammable wall or you have a wallpaper or you give them great experiences that they're Instagramming, they might be tagging you, they might be socially selling you. And making sure that you're tapping into that, I think, is really important. And while we're not here for social media today, it does show why having social media presence is very, very important for your guest to share to earn your storytelling potential. Austin, do you share when you're on vacation? Do you tend to be someone that shares what you're up to?
I'm only 30 years old. Don't let the bald head fool you. And apparently I'm self-conscious about it. That's the second time I brought it up. But no, yes, I share all the time. And I'm incentivized to share when something cool, good, or interesting happens, right? We don't really share the bad. I don't share that there was hair in the shower that I went to that wasn't cleaned up the vacation rental I'm staying at. But I do share when something big and important happened. And really, obviously, we are in this industry, you are providing a space for someone to live, okay, whether it's on a business trip, regular trip, etc. But you're providing them an experience, and anything you can do is going to set you apart. Like it sounds almost too easy to be true, but you have to think the average person that's coming through your property, they might have never seen a digital guidebook in their life, or really just extra customer service like that. Like, wow, this has everything right to my phone, telling me what's going on, what to do, etc. I mean, it makes it so easy, but it's so valuable in bringing people back and getting you more bookings. So I can't stress enough how important this is to me as someone who loves to share
Yeah.
whenever I see anything positive.
Yeah, I'm a huge story sharer myself on Instagram specifically, though I'm a little older than Austin. But that being said, doesn't really matter your age, I think, at the end of the day. And I think what's important though is that we are very happy to refer people to something that we've had a good experience with. But I did stay at a vacation rental once and they didn't have a guidebook, sadly. But at the same time, I checked in and there was a dirty diaper in the garbage. There was Chick-fil-A on the counter and it looked like someone took a nap in my bed. So my
Oh,
suspicion is that the cleaner was there with their kid and then they didn't clean up or they were running late before my check-in time. But the thing is, I had no way to contact the person that was in charge. Gross, exactly, 100%.
yeah.
And I obviously didn't leave a negative review. I was there for a conference for short-term rentals, so I did bring it up at my conversation, my speech the next day, or whatever you want to call it. Um, so maybe they were in the audience. I think they were in the audience. But the point is that it's hard, but it's also the expectations. I will never refer that company to someone else again, and they are fairly large. But at the same time, I will always refer them to someone that was clean, was fresh, you know. And I know a little hair in the shower isn't such a horrible thing, but it can be a very gross thing at the same time. So the diaper was a lot grosser than the hair, I guess. I could wash the hair away, but the diaper, I'd take the trash out. And this is where they didn't leave me with a trash bag either. So I didn't have any new trash bags. So I had to order those
Oof.
from Instacart. But that being said, that's just one negative experience, but the positive experience always outweighs the negative. And we've talked about a lot of the negatives to help you see that why a positive is so important. But out of curiosity for those in the comments as well, do you have social media and do you have either in your communications to your guest or within the property or within your guidebook, if you have one, how they can tag you? Do you have a hashtag? Do you have your Instagram handle shared there to say, you know, if you're sharing about us, please tag us, we'll reshare your stories because that's a really great way to create organic content that isn't influencer paid for content. There's influencers that you can pay all day, every day, but I think it's worthwhile if you try and do it organically from your guests where possible. And I will let you do that. I'm going to move into the next one. With this game, we were having a really great time. Katrina here from Casago was making a joke. We were all laughing. And this was a photo taken by Stephanie at Better Talent Team just in the background. And I love it because Austin and I never planned to match that day, for what it's worth. We got pulled on stage super last minute. And behind the scenes, my smile is so real here, but I also was just going through a processing of some information on my personal end as well. So I love how the hospitality space as a whole, whether you're hosting people in your property or whether you're connecting with folks that are in the industry because we're just like you, how we can all bring each other back in the moment and happy no matter what's going on. So that's why I wanted to share this picture. And thanks, Austin, for being such a joyful guy.
It was it was a lot of fun. And it's easy with good people around you. I wanted to highlight something real quick, if I may, about the question that you
Please.
asked.
Yeah.
Michelle, yes, both in the property and in our communications. I think that's great. Michael, Instagram, but I haven't pushed it yet.
Okay.
Um, I will just say that while it's definitely not everything, and probably not even going to be a deal breaker, having the social media presence can make the difference. People are getting better at traveling. People don't want to pay the fees. A lot of times, if they've done short-term rentals before, they might search your property and find it on your direct website. If they can then click on your Instagram widget, which is like something that should your PMS should provide. I know definitely Avantio does, but you can put it on your website. They can click on that or the Facebook link, see some pictures, kind of get, for lack of a better term, a vibe check.
Hmm.
That can just be one extra thing that's easy and doesn't take much effort, but really highlights what you're kind of providing beyond just a home and a website that somebody hasn't seen or been to before, most likely. And April said, we do use Facebook and Instagram. We haven't really asked them to tag us so we can share their posts. What a great idea. Of course, let them do the work for you. And that was kind of my point. If somebody had a great time and they took a picture of the beautiful kitchen or the view out the back door, or even an experience that they went on while on your trip, that's something that you can just highlight easily and also build a relationship and bring somebody back. So I highly implore you guys to do it. It's definitely something I focus on when I go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that about Avantio. I have a question. Does Avantio have a prompt to ask for reviews no matter the OTA or the platform that they booked on?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Um, and of course, with Airbnb and Verbo, we have some auto review capabilities, and then the ability to automatically post those reviews actually directly onto your website for those specific properties as well. Obviously, reviews are the name of the game, whether you're looking at Google Maps for dinner or a short-term rental that you're going to stay at. You want to see what other people are saying about it. So we definitely make that easy for our property managers to highlight what they're doing.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing that. I think I was curious because I also know that a lot of guests, if they get the prompt, and I'm not sure if it goes to a Google review or not, but in Google reviews, you can also leave photos. So your photos that guests leave on your Google reviews and maybe other avenues too are able to be visibly seen when people search for you in Google or maybe now search for you in ChatGPT or search for where to stay in a certain region. So I think the more areas you have your reviews and the more areas you have stories from your guests, the better visibility you'll get as the internet and as AI evolves to start searching for where they should stay in the future. So that's just something I was curious on, to also help you all here on the call think about how in the future you might want to be found. Uh, Excellent. Thank you. So actually, this is a mutual customer of ours. This is Paul Fogg from Freelance Villas. He is based in the UK, but has properties in Greece and in a lot of other areas. He's been a mutual customer of Avantio and TouchStay for years now. And I actually met him for the first time in London a couple weeks ago. So I didn't pull that picture in here of just us because Austin wasn't in the picture. But at the same time, we do have a case study that we've done with Paul about the efficiencies that he's had, and I wanted to highlight him because he truly has done the full guest experience journey from start to finish in a really great way. He worked really closely with Diana, who's on the Touch Stay team, to implement these. I'm not 100% sure on who on the Avantio team, but he was with Avantio first before Touch Stay. Due to our partnership and integration is what helped him choose Touch Stay. So what he does before the arrival is he actually helps build excitement by sending that guidebook multiple times, like we'd mentioned. He's also implemented his own type of check-in form in the guidebook so that people can check in when they get there, so he's aware. And then he also uses the messaging from Avantio, though, to push those messages out. And I think that for him, after departure, one of the pieces he's also implemented is checking in a couple times after they go to just make sure things were good, send the review prompt from Avantio as well, and set those automations in place. Automations makes it seem robotic, but automations can be very personalized. So inside of Avantio, you have these fields that you can implement to pull the guest first name, to pull the information. And soon you'll be able to pull the field for your TouchStay guidebook link. So our integration is being enhanced as we speak, and it should be live by next week if I'm coding our developers right. So, but it's being worked on. So I'll tell you when it's live with an email. But the thing that will be new to us is that the link to the Touch Stay guide will now sit inside of your unified inbox in Avantio for that communications. Where currently, while we sync reservations and pull that data from Avantio, your messaging is coming from Touch Stay because we also offer a one-way messaging system. So I just wanted to share Paul. We have more information about him on our website and his specific integration features. But Austin, from your knowledge of the people you speak to that are considering joining Avantio or do join Avantio, what is part of the experience journey that they have available to them in the communications flow?
Yeah, I mean, lots, right? It's enhanced with somebody like Touch Day, which is what when I recommend to people, especially if they're new. So for you guys that are vets, I apologize. But when they're new, I recommend them three things. I mean, have a PMS that works and is easy, have guest communication automated, and have dynamic pricing. If you're doing those three things, you're really going to set yourself apart from just the general masses right away without even, let's be honest, maybe knowing perfectly what you're doing or where the business is going. But within Avantio, you have obviously our unified inbox. So that's going to communicate with guests either that are coming from your website, Airbnb, Verbo, Booking.com. You're also going to have automated templates in there. So for common questions, normal things. We do also have a thing called Harmony where we're sending out automated emails. It's just an if-then statement. So if they book 14 days out, they're getting this message automatically. But I think the cool thing about TouchStay and why there is a tech stack and companies that focus on very specific things is you're able to actually maximize that, whether that's to gain more revenue, build more brand awareness, or actually just make it a better experience. And so I haven't been able to actually meet Paul. I haven't been to London, kind of jealous. But when you have somebody like this, they're going above and beyond with the guest, and it's all automated. So it kind of feels like cheating, but you're doing the right thing, and you're giving them a better experience. So if you already know that because you use TouchStay, I get it, but make sure that your tech stack and your PMS and everything's working together for you rather than against you, which sometimes I still see. So.
Thank you. I went through a little slide scroll on accident here. But no, I agree. And I think it's very important. The reason I asked is I know that your PMS system does offer so much. And I also know your team is really helpful for any customers and those looking for it. With TouchStay, you can add a lot of different things, not just check-in information, but also like we talked about the local area recommendations. We do also have an upsell widget now where you can add it inside of your guidebook so that they can cash out and order certain things and then send you an email that says, "Hey, I'd like to buy an early check-in if available," and then you process that on the side. We also do offer a lot of different varieties. Like if you're a drive-in destination, you can embed a Spotify playlist in your guidebook so that your guest has a driving playlist on their way. I think that there's a lot of different fun things that you can do, and we make sure that our platform is completely flexible to you. We don't force you into a box that says you have to have this many categories, you have to have this specific things. You really get the flexibility. I know here in the US, at least, there's a lot of different states that have specific rules where you have to be a realtor to operate vacation rentals. So, oftentimes in those guidebooks for those specific property managers, I find they also add a section about, would you like to invest here? So, they're also marketing other areas of their business that they can offer you. Some offer designing vacation rentals, so they'll highlight that business in there. Maybe there's something else you want to highlight too, and that's completely possible and flexible. Whereas Avantio connects you to all of the booking platforms, it pulls all that data in. It can provide a lot of extras inside of your messaging and fields based on the listing, but TouchStay goes above and beyond in the sense that it gives them a cohesive little package directly on their phone to explore the area more. So I think that's really
Yeah.
great thing.
And that's exactly how Avantio has chosen their partners. When you guys are working with people, um, hey, Michael, yeah, so for people that are in Europe, where we're originally based out of, it is they typically do a minimum of 20. In the US, we say 10 because our pricing starts at 10. Depending on your situation, it can be worth it. Or if you just want to look at it, hit me up afterwards. We have a QR code later on, and I'd be happy to talk with you more if you're curious about it. But also when it comes to the chat, the question I was going to ask is, if you guys are using TouchStay, um, are you using an upsell feature? Because I've met people where, you don't want to add on these extra fees or offer people the world. Oh, here, bottle of wine, check here, bottle, 10 different things that they can buy. But are you offering something to the guest that's actually potentially going to make their life better? And also you're going to get extra income, because I've seen some property managers really have an extra vertical in their business where they make more money and provide guest experience. So,
Yeah, that's a great
Michelle,
question.
I
Oh, through
linked
the
our
host
digital
co.
guidebook. Yeah,
That's so smart. Super smart. And that's probably the one of the best ways right now is to use an affiliate partnership where they can go through the host co, or they can go through, oh goodness, there's so many now. I think Mount might even have something now too, where you can book an experience through something there. But either way, the host co is very flexible. I know that for sure. Annie and them have done a great job there. But we also have in different countries other things. The concierge service is where they can shop. That's exactly true.
brilliant.
And yeah, there's like Baby Quip where you can link them to the local Baby Quip operator to bring the pack in plays, or maybe have an affiliate partnership with a concierge service as well, or do it yourself. Yes. So that's super helpful, especially for parents if you're in a family arena, or if you're in Branson, Missouri, for example, where you have properties that are 10 bedrooms. You really want that giant extended family to feel as welcome as possible when they get there. I say Branson because I'm going to mention Tyann. Tyann is the queen of guest experience. She was with Touch Stay for many years, but you'll see her around all of the different short-term rental events. She organizes events as well and helps with a lot of the VRMA and stuff like that. But Tyann shares a lot of communications, probably 10 to 15, but most of her bookings are for very large 10-bedroom properties, and they book over a year out. She even sends them a card in the mail that makes sure they're excited about their stay. But the reason I have that, and I'm talking about her with this communication study highlight from TouchStay, is if you scan this QR code, you'll be able to get a communication study that was randomized in the US, particularly in late 2023. We hired a company to pull random guests and we asked them their communication preferences. Majority, you'll find, were interested in emails prior to their stay, text during their stay, and emails after their stay. But just these few facts that I've highlighted here is that more than a fifth were missing information. This was me when I went to London a couple weeks ago. I booked my stay through booking.com because I couldn't find the direct booking platform for what it's worth. They hid it very well. I searched high and low to book direct and I couldn't. So I booked it through booking.com and then I ended up getting that post booking confirmation. And then I didn't get anything else until the day before arrival. So I was asking them questions and asking them information because I knew I had 6 hours of time. I couldn't check into my room, but they didn't serve me a guidebook yet. I'm going to talk to them. But also, they just said, well, within 5 minutes, you can find whatever you need. And I was like, well, that's helpful, but not helpful, but okay, thank you. Um, but this is where I felt like I was missing information. 69% of guests said communication was influenced the likelihood of leaving a positive review. So this goes back to our first slide where we're discussing whether or not people feel well looked after before they've even gotten there. And then less than half felt well looked after in our poll. So do check it out. It's very well organized. You can scan it or you can read it in depth. It's completely up to you. But those are the general things that I bring back from it. And back to tie-in now in upsells. In her guidebook, she uses jot form to cash people out and she sells a charcuterie board before arrival. They need a minimum of 3 days before arrival to get this charcuterie board ready. So 5 days before arrival, she sends them an automated text message through Touch Stay and her integration partner. So, but it's through Touch Stay prompt and it sends a deep link to that section of her guidebook that says, please remember you have 48 hours to finish ordering this charcuterie board. And she has tripled her business in charcuterie boards since adding that message 5 days before. Whereas before it was only if they found it, they would order it. So I think it's also about how you place it in front of them in their journey to buy those upsells
Definitely. Timing it out makes all the difference.
for sure. If anybody has any questions on that or would like to see that example guidebook, you're welcome to let us know. We will send it. I don't have it available here on this specific slide deck. Now I am going to move forward and talk a little bit more. This is going to mainly be for Austin, but to talk more about Avantio integrating with TouchStay or any of their other partners and what that looks like. This is also Paul's guidebook from the previous slide, so you can see a little bit of a screenshot of the internal side of his guidebook, but also what it looks like on a desktop view, though I'd say most guests are accessing from their personal devices. So while we're not an app, we're a progressive web-based app at TouchStay, so we're simply a link that gets dropped in your communications and your guest clicks it, they get that feeling right on their phone.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it really easy. Obviously, most people are dealing with their phones. Why? Because we're all on it all the time. At least I am. And number two, because you're on the go when you're on your way to your short-term rental. When we partner with someone like TouchStay, it's really easy. We pull the guest data and the information, just baby technical side, and they're going to actually pull that into TouchStay. When they get that link, it's obviously going to be branded towards freelance villas or whatever your name is. So you're keeping that continuity, and obviously you get more brand recognition, more brand boosting, more brand trust and awareness right away when you're seeing that. But you have all of that at the touch of a finger. And the reason we partner with someone like them is we provide lots of communication over at Avantio. But do you want to go above and beyond? We give our property managers all the tools that they need so that they can succeed like that. And what I wanted to touch on, not related to the guy, I don't know him at all, but I can't even say his last name, Will Chidara. I saw him at one of our conferences. He's the author of Unreasonable Hospitality. If you've never read it, listen to it in the car, read it. I think this ties into my favorite thing, and it's because I come from a guest experience background. If you can do one act of service, whether you're charging them for it or not, by the way, unreasonable hospitality, yes. If whether you're charging them for it or not, you're going to make all the difference, and that's kind of the point of a guidebook or really just a customer experience platform, is giving them ease of mind, but also making their experience so much better. And like I said, I mean, I'm kind of shocked how often it is missing. If you're here, you're probably doing great at it, as we've talked about in the chat. But when that's missing, it's I hate to say it, but it's so easy to have a good partner like that, where you can provide a better experience and immediately increase your brand. Somebody's always going to talk about an amazing experience of somebody who made their life and their trip better. And maybe it's a big deal. Maybe it's the only time they go. I mean, I could rant about this for hours, but it makes all the difference. So please, if you're not doing it, make sure that you do. Make sure you reach out to TouchStay about what you can do to just offer a better experience to your guests. It's not hard, and it will make a lot of difference in your business.
Thank you. And Avantio at the same time, I mean, with the enhancements that are coming this week, the Avantio integration will be even more powerful than it's already been. And I think that it's a really great time if you're considering looking at other PMSs to definitely explore Avantio and explore the potentials with their partners. I'm extremely excited for what's about to launch with us. I think it'll ease both many different things, but it'll also bring Avantio to one of the top players in the arena, in my opinion of what the APIs can do in talking to other APIs. So I know that last year Avantio did a really big enhancement on their back end of their API, and that's why we're redeveloping for that enhancement of the integration. So in my opinion, you're in great hands with Avantio. You're in great hands with a lot of partners. I'm not, but at the same time, I really do think that the team and the people behind the product are just as important as the product themselves. And the Avantio team is always there with open hands, super helpful, always willing to work with both us as a partner, but also our customers. And I think that's really important for all of you that are managing properties is to know that whoever you choose to invest in for your technology stack, whether it's Avantio and TouchStay or not, just at the end of the day, make sure that the people behind the product are people that you definitely want to work with as well, because if something goes wrong, you have to reach out to them. So we hope
Yeah,
we're those friendly people for you. But at the same time, no matter who you choose, just I think that's an important part of this entire industry.
that is really important to highlight. And I want to highlight that regardless of if it's Avantio or TouchStay. Truthfully, whoever you're working with and giving your hard-earned money to, yeah, they're providing a solution in the form of technology to your business, but what are they doing if something goes wrong? And do they have an incentive for your business to grow? I mean, at the same time, it really is a partnership. And I think you definitely get that with TouchStay. I am biased towards them, but I've loved them from the start. But make sure you're doing that with anybody you're giving your dollars to. Too far in between, you hear bad customer experience. And I'm not even just talking about short-term rentals. I'm talking about your tech stack. So
Yeah.
make sure you're trusting who you're working with.
Thank you. I completely agree with you. I should have had this slide open. This shows a couple stats about Avantio, just if you wanted to graze it about how large they are of a
Sure.
PMS system.
Yeah, I can touch it. So we have over 1,700 customers. We're in over 50 countries. We're originally out of Valencia, Spain. We're one of the oldest out there. I think it says 24 years. I think that's right. I think we started in 2001, back when
Okay.
we would hand out CDs and you would download it onto your computer. Times have changed. We've changed. We have now over 200 employees, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
And we have over 200,000 listings connected around the world, which is pretty wild. But I
That is
think the
wild.
difference with us is we still have the same CEO, and we still have the same no commissions, customer forward, not really branding Avantio, honestly, all that much, but branding you because as you grow, so do we. And we're really just a service-based, family-based company. So if you're interested in that at all, definitely reach out. Would love to talk to you. But I'm really lucky to work for a cool company that cares about its customers.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, and apologies for not opening that slide sooner. And here I
Oh
go
no,
again,
you're good.
accidentally hitting my thing. I don't have as many fancy stats here about TouchStay, but I can still tell you them. I've been at TouchStay almost 3 years now. I've been using the product myself for 5 years. I did come into the business by supporting a property manager in the marketing arena. So I do have a little bit of marketing lifeblood in me. I do come from hospitality as well, but it started with the food service industry, but I think that carries over into properties fairly streamlined. We have over 8,500 customers worldwide at this point in time. Our team is a little bit smaller than the Avantio team, but we like to say we're a small but mighty team. I'd say we have about 20-ish full-time TouchStay employees, but we are owned by a larger entity called iTrinity that has about 100 employees. They are a very tech-forward SaaS company who actually acquired TouchStay last year. Our original founders are Andy and Joe, and they started as guests in the hospitality space who were really frustrated with the paper guidebooks over 10 years ago. So TouchStay turned 10 recently, and I'm really excited and proud of all the great developments we've had in the future too. So you can start a free trial on TouchStay. I don't know about Avantio, but definitely chat with Austin about that. But even if you have just one property or 50 properties, just you can have one guide on a free trial for 14 days. You can connect to Avantio or your PMS partner and see what's available for you. And then you can obviously book a demo with me as well. This is just to make sure we've talked about both of our companies, but we definitely want to make sure you get value outside of just us talking about these folks. So I'm going to move into the next slide that has a lot of QR codes, and I'm going to open the floor for any specific questions you have or anything you'd like us to chat about. We have plenty of time left. I just wanted to make sure that we got through the slides that we had.
Yeah.
Um, just to review what we have, the Touch Stay demo is the top left here. It will open up a form to fill out. One of us will be in contact with you. The guest communication study that I highlighted earlier. This is the Avantio demo scan with the orange arrow. And then there's a free ebook from Avantio that you can also download here. So this ebook talks about how to boost your direct bookings and how I believe to make your website more enticing for guests to book. I read and went through it yesterday. I think it's a really great asset. So please do download these assets if you're interested. And I will have a peek in the chats here. Oh, Alex, thank you for letting everyone know Unreasonable Hospitality is the name. I think Will was the headliner at Darm last winter, wasn't he?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And
Great
I've
guy,
read the
very
book.
interesting stories. Some that were pretty moving. I mean, if you have a heart, you would like it. Last thing for us over at Avantio, right now we're doing a discount. So if you are looking and interested, do your due diligence, do your research, but come take a look at Avantio. I think you'd be pretty happy what you have to see, and we're offering. I think it's 20% off right now, so it's pretty big, depending on what season you're in. But yeah, thank you guys for being here. And any questions you have, Loren has a whole bunch of experience, like she said, in the hospitality world. So do I, if I might say so myself, and be happy to talk to you really about anything when it comes to this industry, if you have any questions. So.
Yeah, same here. If you see us at an event or you happen to see us online, you're always welcome to ping us and let us know. We'll introduce you to whomever you'd like to meet. I feel like Austin and I tend to be the social vendor floor folks, so we'll bring you around and we'll introduce you to whomever it is. But
No
no,
doubt.
it's true, and thank you for sharing your background too. In fact, what hospitality background do you have as your initial?
Yeah, so I started off in the vacation rental world after college, just doing customer service, or as we call it, guest experience, which I do like that name better for Evolve Vacation Rental. And after that, I was also in the food service world. I was a general manager of some coffee shops here in Denver, where I'm located, for locally. And that taught me a lot about how to treat people, employees, and making things easier.
That's right.
Often doing the right thing is the easier thing rather than dealing with an issue later. So
I agree. And now I remember your coffee shop experience. I remember us talking about that before. Yeah, restaurant management is where my lifeblood came from, born and raised in that industry. And then I switched over to this industry. But whether you're serving someone food on a plate or whether you're serving a property to them, you're in essence doing the same thing. And I personally will have my kids work in some sort of service hospitality. I think it's important for people to learn that guest customer facing perspective, for better or for worse. So
no doubt, no doubt. It's never always easy, but it'll teach you a lot about yourself and others. So
for sure. Thank you, Michael, for mentioning a thanks for all the information. We're very grateful for everyone that was able to attend today. And I know that not everybody that signed up has been here. So we will send the recording out. And if you're listening to the recording, we greatly appreciate your time on the recording as well, and hope that you found at least some value in our perspectives and how storytelling can help enhance the experience, but also that your tech stack in the background also helps you tell your story in an automated fashion, like through Avantio or through TouchStay, adding some value about what local area recommendations, what the weather might be that day, and other information in a guidebook that might not be in Avantio as well.
amen. I got nothing to add. That was a
Perfect
perfect.
closure. All
That's
right.
right.
Cool. Well, I look forward to seeing you this weekend, Austin. Alex, who's in the
Same here.
background, thank you so much for managing our webinar today. We're very grateful for that. And we appreciate everyone that filled in the answers of the polls. If you scanned any of our demo things, we will definitely be in touch with you. And if not, please feel free to reach out, Loren at touchstay.com and A Weaver at Avantio.
That's right. Weaver at Avantio.com. And yeah, thank you, April and Michael, Michelle, and a few other people I think that I missed in the chat, but appreciate you guys being here. We're a small community and really more connected than everyone thinks. So these type of things mean a lot to me.
Yeah, same here. We appreciate it. And we will send you a picture on LinkedIn from us together soon. So
That's right.
thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye, guys.